My name is Amanda Bailey, and I'm 30 years old. That car in my garage, a 1967 Mustang Cherry Red, every bolt polished by my hands, is more than metal. It's my father's legacy, the one thing he left me before cancer took him 5 years ago. He taught me how to rebuild it late nights under the hood, his voice guiding my wrench. Now my sister thinks she can claim it. At her big promotion party, she humiliated me in front of everyone, demanded I hand over the keys to bail her out of debt. When I said no, she kicked me out, her voice dripping with venom. But I wasn't done. I walked away with a plan to make her regret crossing me. That Mustang wasn't just a car, it was my life's work, and I'd fight to keep it. If you're hooked on stories about standing up to betrayal, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment about a time you fought for what's yours. Stick around, you won't believe what I did next. The doorbell rang at noon, sharp and insistent, pulling me from my workbench where I was polishing the Mustang's chrome. I wiped my hands, expecting a delivery, but there stood Lauren Evans, my older sister, in a tailored blazer, her smile too tight to be genuine. Next to her was Daniel Coleman, her fiancé, in a pressed suit, his eyes scanning my small Newport apartment like he was pricing it. "Hey, sis," Lauren said, stepping inside without waiting for an invite. "We need to talk." I offered them coffee, keeping my tone neutral, but my gut told me this wasn't a friendly visit. We sat in my cramped living room, the Mustang's keys glinting on the table between us. Lauren leaned forward, her manicured nails tapping the armrest. "That car she started, it's just sitting in your garage, Amanda. You don't even drive it much. Daniel and I have been thinking it could be a game changer for us." Daniel nodded, his voice smooth. "Real estate's booming in Newport. A classic like that Mustang, it'd fetch a fortune at auction. We're starting a new investment project, and that kind of cash could set us up." I stared at him, my fingers tightening around my mug. The car wasn't just a vehicle. It was Michael's pride, our late-night talks, his hands guiding mine over every gear. "It's not for sale," I said flatly. Lauren's smile faltered, but she pressed on. "Come on, Amanda. You're young, single, no kids. What's a 30-year-old doing with a relic like that? We could split the profits, make it a family win." Her words stung like she thought I was hoarding something useless. I shook my head. "Michael left it to me. It's mine to keep, not to flip for your deals." Daniel's eyes narrowed, but he kept his tone light. "Think about it. You're sitting on a gold mine while we're trying to build a future. Don't you want to help your sister?" I wanted to laugh. Help Lauren hadn't called in months unless she needed something. "I'm not stopping you from building anything," I said, standing to signal the end of it. "The car stays with me." They left, but Lauren's parting look, sharp, calculating, stuck with me. 2 days later, she called, her voice syrupy sweet. "Dinner at our place tonight, Amanda. Just family. Bring the keys." Maybe I almost hung up, but curiosity won. What were they playing at? I drove to their sleek Newport townhouse, a glass and steel box that screamed money they didn't have. Lauren greeted me at the door, her engagement ring catching the light. Daniel poured wine too generous with the bottle, while my brother Andrew Bailey slouched on the couch scrolling his phone. Dinner was grilled salmon, fancy but overcooked, and the conversation danced around pleasantries until Lauren set her fork down. "Amanda, we're in a bind," she admitted, her eyes flicking to Daniel. "The investment project art gallery's high-end stuff tanked. We owe a lot. That Mustang could cover it." I froze fork halfway to my mouth. How much I asked, dreading the answer. Daniel leaned in, all business. 200,000 give or take. A loan against the car would clear it. You'd still own it, technically. My jaw tightened. They wanted to use Michael's legacy as collateral, risking it to a bank. "No." I said, my voice hard. "That car's not a bargaining chip." Lauren's face reddened. "You're being selfish, Amanda. This is family. Michael would have wanted us to pull together." I nearly choked on her words. "Michael." The man who spent years teaching me to value what we built together. Don't bring my father into this, I snapped. He gave me the car because he trusted me to keep it, not pawn it. Andrew finally looked up, his voice lazy but pointed. You're acting like it's a shrine, sis. It's just a car. Let it go. I stared at him, my brother who'd barely visited since Michael's funeral. It's not just a car, I said, pushing my plate away. It's everything he stood for: hard work, pride, not cutting corners for quick cash. Daniel tried to smooth things over, his smile practiced. We're not asking you to lose it, Amanda. Just help us out. Family does that. I looked between them. Lauren's forced calm, Daniel's slick confidence, Andrew's indifference. They weren't here for family. They saw dollar signs in my garage. I stood grabbing my jacket. Thanks for dinner, I said, my voice cold. But the answer's still no. Driving home, the ocean air whipping through my open window, I couldn't shake their words. Lauren's desperation, Daniel's calculated charm, Andrew's apathy. It all felt wrong. I pulled into my garage, the Mustang gleaming under the fluorescent light. I ran my hand over its hood, remembering Michael's laugh when we finally got the engine to purr. This wasn't about a car. It was about erasing what he'd given me. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a text from Lauren. Think about it. Amanda, we're family. Dinner again tomorrow? I didn't reply. Instead, I started digging. A quick search online showed their art gallery project had collapsed under bad investments, crypto startups, you name it. They were drowning in debt, and my car was their lifeline. I wasn't just protecting a Mustang. I was guarding Michael's trust in me. But Lauren's persistence told me she wasn't done. She'd push harder, and I needed to be ready. I wasn't letting them take what was mine. I ignored Lauren's text about another dinner. But the next evening, my phone buzzed again, Andrew this time, asking me to stop by their townhouse to talk things over. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I wasn't naive. I knew Lauren and Daniel weren't done pushing for the Mustang, but I wanted to see how far they'd go. I parked outside their glass-fronted home in Newport, the ocean breeze carrying a faint salt tang. The Mustang stayed in my garage. I wasn't bringing it anywhere near them. Lauren opened the door, her smile forced like she was playing a part. Amanda, so glad you came, she said, ushering me in. Daniel was in the living room swirling a glass of whiskey, while Andrew sprawled on a leather couch, his tie loosened from a long day at the bank. The air felt thick, like they'd been arguing before I arrived. Coffee, Lauren offered, but I shook my head, sitting stiffly on an armchair. Let's cut to the chase, I said. What do you want? Lauren exchanged a glance with Daniel, who leaned forward, elbows on his knees. We're not giving up, Amanda. He said, his voice smooth but edged. That car could solve our problems. You're sitting on a fortune while we're drowning. I crossed my arms. You already said that. My answer hasn't changed. The Mustang's not for sale or loan. Andrew snorted, looking up from his phone. Come on, sis. You're obsessed with that thing. It's like you're married to it. Michael wouldn't want you hoarding it forever. His words hit like a slap, using my father's name against me. Don't you dare speak for Michael? I shot back, my voice low. He gave me that car because he knew I'd protect it. Lauren stepped in, her tone softer, almost pleading. Amanda, we're family. We're just asking for help. The gallery's debts are crushing us. You don't understand how bad it is. I studied her face. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the strain in her eyes. Then sell your townhouse, I said. Or Daniel's fancy suits. Why's it always my car? Daniel's jaw tightened, but he kept his cool. Because it's liquid, Amanda. A quick sale and we're free. You'd still be part of the Deal family first, right? I almost laughed. Family. They hadn't acted like family since Michael died. I stood ready to leave. I'm done here, I said, grabbing my keys. As I reached the hallway, I noticed the back door to their patio was ajar. Voices drifted through Lauren's sharp and low, followed by Daniel's murmur. I paused my hand on the doorknob. Something told me to listen. I stepped closer, staying out of sight, my heart pounding. She's not budging. Lauren was saying, her voice tight with frustration. We can't let her keep that car. It's worth at least $200,000. Daniel's tone was colder, calculating. Then we moved to plan B. Andrew's got a contact at the bank, a lawyer who can draft papers to declare her unfit to manage her assets. She's 30 lives alone, obsessed with that car. It won't be hard to make a case. My breath caught. Unfit, they were planning to label me mentally incapable to steal the Mustang. Andrew's voice chimed in, lazy but confident. I've seen it done before. The lawyer's solid, owes me a favor. We get a doctor to sign off, say she's erratic, maybe depressed. The court will hand us control of her estate. We sell the car, clear the debt, maybe even get her apartment. I froze, my blood running cold. My own brother plotting with them. Michael's face flashed in my mind, his calloused hands on the Mustang's steering wheel, his pride in me. They wanted to erase that. Lauren hesitated, her voice softer. Isn't that a bit extreme? She's my sister. Daniel cut her off. You want to lose everything. The house, the business. She's not giving us a choice. Andrew chuckled. She's always been stubborn, Lauren. This is the only way. Once we're in charge, we can remodel that car into something modern, strip it for parts if we have to. I backed away, my hands trembling with rage. They weren't just after the car, they wanted to strip me of my freedom, my rights, all for their debts. I slipped out the front door, quiet as a shadow, and drove home, my mind racing. The Mustang gleamed in my garage, a symbol of everything Michael taught me: resilience, honor, standing firm. They thought they could break me, but they'd miscalculated. At home, I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel, replaying their words. Unfit, erratic, depressed, each one cut deeper than the last. Lauren, my sister, who I'd once looked up to. Andrew, my brother, who I'd defended when he flunked out of college. They'd betrayed me, and for what money? I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. But I wasn't going to cry or scream. I'd learned from Michael, when you're under attack, you don't break. You plan. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through contacts. James Parker, Michael's old friend and a financial advisor, would know what to do. He'd always been there when I needed advice, like a second father. I needed to protect the Mustang, lock it down legally so they couldn't touch it. And I needed proof of their plan, something to turn the tables. I'd been recording our dinner conversations on my phone, an old habit from my engineering days, to keep track of details. Maybe I'd caught something. I played back the last dinner, fast-forwarding through Lauren's fake smiles and Daniel's slick pitches. Nothing solid. But tonight's conversation on the patio, I hadn't recorded it. Stupid. I should have been more careful. Still, I had my memory clear as day, and that was enough to start. I texted James, need to meet tomorrow. Urgent. It's about the Mustang. His reply came fast, 8 a.m. my office. Bring everything you've got. The next day, I drove to James's office in downtown Newport, the Mustang's engine rumbling like a promise. I told him everything: Lauren's pressure, Daniel's debt, Andrew's role in their scheme. His face darkened as I described the patio conversation. They're playing dirty, Amanda, he said, leaning back in his chair. Declaring someone unfit is a serious move. You need a lawyer and you need to act fast. I nodded, my jaw tight. I'm not letting them take what's mine. Michael trusted me with that car, and I'll fight for it. James gave me a number for Patricia Sullivan, a lawyer he trusted, known for handling messy family disputes. I called her right then, setting a meeting for the next day. As I left James's office, the weight of their betrayal settled deeper, but so did my resolve. Lauren thought she could humiliate me at her promotion party and get away with it. She was wrong. I was already planning my next move, and it would hit them where it hurt. The morning after meeting James, I drove to Patricia Sullivan's law office, a small brick building on Newport's Main Street, the Mustang's rumble steadying my nerves. Patricia, a sharp-eyed lawyer in her late 40s, greeted me with a firm handshake. "James filled me in," she said, motioning to a chair. "Your sister and her crew are playing a dangerous game. Let's make sure they lose." I nodded, my jaw tight. Lauren, Daniel, and Andrew thought they could label me unfit to steal my father's Mustang. I wasn't just fighting for a car, I was defending Michael's trust in me. I laid out everything: Lauren's pressure to sell the car, Daniel's slick talk about debts, Andrew's role in their scheme to declare me incapable. Patricia listened, her pen moving fast across a legal pad. "They're banking on a court believing you're unstable," she said, her voice calm but direct. "A single woman, 30, fixated on a car. They'll paint you as eccentric, maybe depressed. But we can lock this down." How I asked, leaning forward. The thought of losing the Mustang to their greed made my stomach churn. "We transfer the car's title into a trust," Patricia explained. "You're the trustee with strict conditions. No one else can touch it unless you're proven unfit by a court, which they'll struggle to do. We'll also draft a clause: any attempt to challenge your capacity triggers an automatic donation of the car to a charity." I liked the sound of that, a trap for their trap. James, sitting across from us, nodded. "Smart move. I can set up the trust on the financial side. It'll cost a bit, but it's ironclad." I didn't hesitate. "Do it," I said. "I want that car untouchable." Patricia pulled out a stack of documents explaining each step: title transfer, trust formation, legal safeguards. I signed where she pointed, my hand steady despite the anger simmering inside. Lauren thought she could outsmart me. She'd soon learn I wasn't the pushover she remembered from childhood. As we wrapped up, Patricia looked at me, her eyes narrowing. "You're planning something for Lauren's promotion party, aren't you?" I gave a small smile. "I'm not letting them humiliate me again without a fight." She raised an eyebrow but didn't press. "Just be careful. If they're desperate, they might twist your actions to look erratic. Keep your cool." I nodded, but my mind was already racing. The party was in 3 days, and I'd be there ready to turn their plan against them. Back home, I checked my phone's recordings from the last dinner at Lauren's. The audio was fuzzy, but Daniel's voice came through, pushing for the car as collateral. It wasn't the patio conversation, I hadn't recorded that, but it was enough to show their intent. I saved it to a USB drive, labeling it evidence. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd be ready with proof. I also dug through my father's old files, finding the Mustang's original title signed over to me 5 years ago. Michael's handwriting, steady and sure, felt like a reminder this was my fight now. The next day, I met James again at his office, a cozy space cluttered with financial books and photos of him with Michael from their fishing trips. "The trust is in motion," he said, handing me a draft. "Once the paperwork's filed, the car's locked in. But Amanda, what's your endgame? You can't just walk into that party and start a scene." I leaned back, my fingers tapping the desk. "I'm not starting anything. They did when they planned to lock me away for their debts." James sighed, rubbing his temples. "I get it. Michael would be proud of your fire. But you're walking into a lion's den. Lauren's promotion party will be packed with her colleagues, maybe even Andrew's bank buddies. They'll have home field advantage." I shrugged. "Let them. I've got the truth and I'm not afraid to use it." He gave me a long look, then nodded. "All right. Just make sure you've got everything lined up. I'll be on standby if you need me." That night I sat in the Mustang parked in my garage, running my hands over the steering wheel. Michael used to say, "Never let anyone take what you've earned." Lauren and Daniel thought they could erase his legacy for quick cash. Andrew, my own brother, was ready to sell me out for a favor at the bank. The betrayal cut deep, but it also fueled me. I wasn't just protecting a car, I was protecting my father's belief in me, the hours we spent rebuilding that Mustang, the lessons he drilled into me about standing tall. I called Patricia again, confirming the trust details. "It'll be finalized tomorrow," she said. "If they try anything, they'll hit a legal wall." I thanked her, then pulled out a notebook sketching my plan for the party. Lauren's big night was at the Oceanfront Hotel, a glitzy venue for Newport's elite. She'd be basking in her new title VP of some marketing firm, surrounded by people who'd eat up her charm. I'd walk in calm and collected with my evidence ready. No shouting, no tears, just the truth laid bare for everyone to see. The day before the party, Lauren texted me her tone. "All sweetness, Amanda, please come to my promotion party. It's a big deal for me and I want you there. Can we talk about the car?" I stared at the message, my blood boiling. She thought she could lure me in, maybe guilt me into giving up the Mustang. I replied, "I'll be there, keeping it short." She didn't know I'd overheard their plan, didn't know I was ready to strike back. I spent that evening preparing. I copied the dinner recording onto my phone, tested it to make sure Daniel's voice was clear. I also wrote down every word from the patio conversation as close to verbatim as I could recall. Lauren saying, "We can't let her keep that car." Daniel's cold, declare her unfit. Andrew's casual, the lawyer's solid. Each line burned into me, sharpening my focus. I packed a small folder titled Documents, Trust Papers, my notes. If they wanted a fight, I'd bring one they couldn't win. By noon the next day, Patricia called to confirm the trust was filed. "The Mustang's safe," she said. "No one can touch it without your consent, and any challenge to your capacity will trigger the charity clause." I exhaled a weightlifting. "Thanks, Patricia," I said. "I'm ready for tomorrow." She paused, then added, "Be strategic, Amanda. You're not just facing Lauren, you're facing a room full of her allies. Make every move count." I hung up my mindset. The Oceanfront Hotel would be Lauren's stage, but I'd steal the spotlight. They thought they could humiliate me, label me unfit, and take what was mine. I'd show them exactly who they were dealing with. Michael taught me to fix what's broken, not break what's whole. The Mustang was whole, and so was I. Tomorrow I'd walk into that party with my head high, ready to expose their betrayal and protect my father's legacy. The Oceanfront Hotel's ballroom glittered with chandeliers packed with Lauren's colleagues in sharp suits and glittering dresses, their laughter mingling with clinking glasses. I stood at the entrance, my black dress simple but sharp, the USB drive with the dinner recording tucked in my purse alongside my notes from the patio conversation. My heart pounded, but my face stayed calm. Tonight, Lauren would learn she'd picked the wrong fight. I'd promised Michael I'd protect his Mustang, and I wasn't backing down. A young woman at the check-in table smiled nervously. "Name?" she asked, scanning her list. "Amanda Bailey." I said, my voice steady. Her eyes widened. She must have heard about me. "You're on the list. Welcome." I nodded, stepping into the crowd. Lauren had invited me thinking she could pressure me one last time. She didn't know I was here to turn the tables. I spotted Lauren near the stage, radiant in a sapphire gown, her VP title practically glowing around her. Daniel stood beside her, charming a group of executives, while Andrew lingered nearby, sipping champagne, his bank badge glinting. They hadn't seen me yet. I moved through the crowd, blending in, waiting for the right moment. The MC tapped the microphone, calling for attention. "Let's hear it for Lauren Evans, our new vice president of marketing." Applause erupted as Lauren stepped up, her smile polished, perfect for the cameras. She launched into her speech, all confidence and charm, thanking her team, her family, even mentioning Michael. "My father taught me to seize opportunities," she said, her voice smooth. "That's why I'm here today." My blood boiled. Seize opportunities. Like trying to steal his Mustang, I gripped my purse, the USB drive heavy in my hand. She was setting the stage, and I was about to steal it. As her speech ended, Lauren scanned the crowd, her eyes landing on me. Her smile faltered, but she recovered, gesturing me forward. "My sister Amanda is here tonight," she said, her tone overly warm. "Come up, sis. Say a few words." The crowd clapped, expecting a sweet family moment. I walked to the stage, my steps measured, ignoring the whispers. Lauren thought she could control this, maybe guilt me into giving up the car in front of everyone. She was wrong. I took the microphone, my voice clear. "Thank you, Lauren, for inviting me to your big night." The crowd smiled, oblivious. But I'm not here to celebrate. I'm here to set the record straight. Lauren's face froze, her eyes darting to Daniel, who stiffened. Andrew set down his glass, his expression darkening. I turned to the crowd. My sister demanded I give her my 1967 Mustang, a car my father Michael left to me. When I refused, she humiliated me, kicked me out, and planned something worse. Murmurs rippled through the room. Lauren stepped forward, laughing nervously. "Amanda, this isn't the place. Let's talk privately." I ignored her, pulling out my phone. "You wanted the car to pay off your debts, $200,000, right?" I said, my voice cutting through her act. "But you didn't stop there. You, Daniel, and Andrew planned to declare me unfit to manage my affairs, to take the car by force." The crowd gasped, heads turning to Lauren and Daniel. "That's ridiculous," Daniel snapped, stepping toward the stage. "She's making this up." I held up the USB drive. "Is she?" I said, plugging it into the stage's audio system. The fuzzy recording from our last dinner played, Daniel's voice clear and cold. "The car's liquid, Amanda. A quick sale and we're free." The room went silent, faces stunned. I didn't have the patio conversation recorded, but my notes were enough. I read aloud, my voice steady. Lauren said, "We can't let her keep that car." Daniel said, "Declare her unfit." Andrew said, "The lawyer's solid." Lauren's face turned ashen. "Amanda, stop this," she hissed, grabbing for the microphone. I stepped back, holding it firm. "You thought you could label me mentally incapable to steal Michael's legacy," I said, staring her down. "You invited me here to pressure me again, but I'm done playing your game." The crowd was frozen, some whispering, others glaring at Lauren. Andrew pushed through, his voice loud. "She's lying. She's obsessed with that car." I turned to him, my brother who'd sold me out. "Obsessed? I'm protecting what Michael gave me." "You're the ones obsessed with money." I faced the crowd again. "I was going to help pay for this party, half the bill, because Lauren asked. But not anymore. I'm withdrawing my support. The bill's on you, Lauren, Daniel. Good luck." A woman in the back gasped, and murmurs grew louder. Lauren's colleagues exchanged looks, some stepping away from her. Daniel climbed onto the stage, his face red. "You can't do this, Amanda. You're ruining her night." I met his gaze, unflinching. "You ruined it when you planned to take my freedom. This car, this party, it's all about your debts, not family." I turned to the crowd one last time. "I've placed the Mustang in a trust. It's untouchable now. And I'm donating its legacy to a community fund for young engineers, not to pay off your failed schemes." Lauren's eyes filled with tears, but they didn't move me. "How could you?" she choked out, her voice breaking for the crowd's sympathy. I didn't flinch. "How could you?" I shot back. "You betrayed me, your own sister, for money. Michael would be ashamed." I stepped off the stage, the room buzzing with shock. Andrew grabbed my arm as I passed. "You're making a mistake, sis," he whispered, his voice low. I yanked my arm free. "You made the mistake, Andrew. You all did." As I walked through the crowd, heads turned, some with pity, others with respect. Lauren's colleagues whispered their admiration for her crumbling. Daniel shouted after me. This isn't over, but his voice was drowned by the chatter. I reached the exit. my heart racing but steady. I'd done what I came for, exposed their lies, protected Michael's legacy, and walked away on my terms. The Mustang was safe, and so was I. Lauren's big night was in ruins, and they had no one to blame but themselves. The days after Lauren's promotion party passed in a strange quiet. My phone stayed silent, no calls from Lauren, no texts from Andrew, not even an angry voicemail from Daniel. Newport buzzed with gossip, though. At the coffee shop, conversations hushed when I walked in, only to pick up again as I sat with my black coffee. I didn't care. I'd said my piece, exposed their plan to declare me unfit, and walked away with Michael's Mustang safe. Now I had work to do. I drove to the Newport Community Center, a low brick building near the harbor, where I met Edward Hayes, a retired engineer with a passion for classic cars. Heard about your fight. Edward said, his weathered hands gripping a blueprint. That Mustang's a beauty. What's your plan? I spread out my sketches on the table. I'm turning it into the centerpiece of a community exhibit, I said. A space for young engineers to learn hands-on like Michael taught me. Edward's eyes lit up. Count me in. We spent weeks planning. The exhibit would be a workshop and gallery showcasing the Mustang while teaching kids about mechanics. I funded it with my savings, no loans, no shortcuts. Michael would have approved. We converted a corner of the community center into a sleek space with tools, workbenches, and display lights for the car. Edward brought in other retired engineers, all eager to mentor. By the end of the month, the Michael Bailey Auto exhibit was ready. The Mustang gleamed under spotlights, its red paint a beacon of my father's legacy. Nora Bailey, my niece, showed up the day we hung the sign. Aunt Amanda, she said, her voice soft, "This is amazing." She was 18 with Michael's curious eyes, and the only one in the family who hadn't turned on me. I handed her a wrench. Want to help polish the chrome? She grinned, diving in, asking questions about every bolt. Working with her felt like those nights with my father, the garage filled with laughter and grease. Why didn't Mom come? Nora asked, pausing. I sighed. Lauren's got her own battles now. I don't think she's ready to face me. The truth was, I'd cut Lauren and Andrew out completely. After the party, I blocked their numbers. No more fake apologies, no more guilt trips. They'd planned to strip me of my rights for their debts, $200,000 they'd blown on bad investments. I wasn't their ATM, and I was done pretending we were family. Nora was different. She visited on weekends, helping with the exhibit, her enthusiasm a reminder of what family could be. Opening day came a sunny Saturday with the harbor sparkling outside. The community center was packed, kids, parents, local gearheads all drawn to the Mustang. Edward gave a short speech crediting me and Michael. I stood by the car, my hand on its hood, feeling my father's presence. A teenage boy, shy but eager, asked if he could learn to rebuild an engine. Start next week, I told him, handing him a flyer for our free classes. The crowd clapped, and for the first time in months, I felt peace. That evening, as I locked up, I saw Lauren's car, a sleek BMW, parked across the street. She sat inside watching, but didn't get out. I stared back, my expression hard. She'd lost her shine since the party. Word was her colleagues distanced themselves after my speech. I didn't wave, didn't approach. She drove off, and I turned back to the exhibit. That was the last I saw of her. Andrew sent one email a week attempt at an apology. Sis, we got carried away. Can we talk? I deleted it without replying. He'd stood by while Lauren and Daniel plotted to call me unfit, and that wasn't something I could forgive. Family doesn't betray like that. Michael taught me better loyalty isn't just blood. It's trust earned and kept. They'd broken it, and I wasn't rebuilding that bridge. Nora kept coming through her visits, the highlight of my weeks. She'd sketched designs for the exhibit's next phase, suggesting a corner for vintage car parts. "You're like Grandpa," she said once, smiling. Stubborn, but in a good way. I laughed, the sound lighter than I'd expected. She was right. Michael's stubbornness lived in me, and I was using it to build something bigger than myself. The exhibit grew. We added classes, partnered with local schools, and even got a grant to expand. Edward and his engineer friends became my new family, not by blood, but by shared purpose. They understood what the Mustang meant, not just a car, but a symbol of hard work, of standing firm. Every kid who tightened a bolt under those lights carried a piece of Michael's legacy forward. One night I sat in the Mustang parked in the exhibit hall, the quiet hum of the community center around me. I looked at the kids' projects on the walls, the tools neatly lined up, and I spoke to Michael in my mind. "I kept my promise, Dad," I said softly. "Your car's not just mine anymore, it's theirs." I felt a calm settle over me, like his hand on my shoulder. "I've learned something through all this, and I want you to hear it. Family isn't always a safe haven. Sometimes the people closest to you will hurt you the most, driven by greed or desperation. Lauren and Andrew thought they could take what I'd earned, what Michael trusted me to protect. They were wrong. I fought for the Mustang, not just for me, but for what it stood for: hard work, loyalty, legacy. Don't let anyone guilt you into giving up what's yours. Set boundaries, stand tall, and protect what matters. Greed can tear families apart, but you can choose who you call family, those who honor you, not use you. Thank you for listening to my story. It's not just about a car, it's about fighting for what's right. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment. Tell me, have you ever had to stand up to family to protect what's yours? I'd love to hear your stories.